Coming up on today's episode, we break down the new M. Night Shyamalan experience, Trap. Stay tuned. Welcome to Scary World, where we walk you through the latest and greatest in the world of horror. I am your host, Arturo Padilla.
Hi.
For those of you just joining us, don't forget to subscribe up above and say what's up down below. We have one major rule around here: no spoilers. Now that we got that out of the way, there are 5 categories: production, story, ensemble, horror, and legacy. Each category can score the maximum of 2 points.
Showtime.
Per IMDb, the synopsis goes, a father and his teen daughter attend a pop concert only to realize they've entered the center of a dark and sinister event. Trap was directed by M. Night Shyamalan, who previously directed last year's Knock at the Cabin and has been entertaining audiences with his take on horror since 1999's The Sixth Sense. With Trap, Shyamalan was again able to deliver another visually pleasing film.
Police trucks outside. The cameras everywhere, Jamie. I'm not supposed to tell. Something happened? Don't rat me out. I won't. You know the butcher?
The shots are simple, but well composed and effective. There's no flair or tricks behind the camera, which is unfortunate because using different camera techniques would have enhanced the overall movie. I think Shyamalan played it safe when it came to his artistic choices behind the camera, and it's not a bad thing, but it also is not a good thing. I feel he should have added some more of his personal flair into the look of this film. Besides that, everything looks professionally done, everything looks crisp, and everything looks good. But I just feel that he played it way too safe. And that is a theme that's gonna come across all the segments of this episode, unfortunately. And for the hard work done behind the camera, making sure this movie looks visually pleasing to the eye, Shyamalan and his crew and Trap get a 1 for production. As I mentioned before, I think Shyamalan should have taken more chances behind the camera, added some more visual flair. He tries to do that, especially when there are scenes of the concert and a light show going on with the music, and there's shots of Hartnett straight on, and I feel there could have been more of that done and more risks taken using that light show and using the camera. And that is why this movie gets a 1. Shyamalan also wrote the story and the script. The script has an excellent core idea, but it isn't taken far enough. Shyamalan plays it safe with all 3 acts, and we never get the full promise of the premise.
That we're searching for. He's here and he's realized he can't get out.
The story is paced well and the acts hit all the right beats, but again, the story doesn't dive deep enough for the audience to connect with this protagonist fully, and that protagonist is Josh Hartnett's Cooper. As I mentioned in the production, Shyamalan plays it safe with all aspects of this movie, and the script is no different. There isn't a full deep dive into the psyche of this character as one thought there would be, being that the premise is pretty much, hey, we have this serial killer trapped here, what is he gonna do? How are these events gonna unfold? But I'm a little disappointed because there are no surprises in this movie. There are no Shyamalan twists. The infamous Shyamalan writing that we know of the late 90s and the early 2000s where we didn't know what to expect. I wish we kind of had that. Whether that was a good thing or a bad thing, I think a little bit more risk should have been taken with the story, especially with the kind of character that we get with Cooper and the performance that we get with Hartnett, and we'll talk about that in the next segment. And for the story, Trap gets a 1. Again, I feel Shyamalan could have gone further and taken some crazier risks, especially once we kind of get the gist of everything here. And honestly, we knew ahead of time what we were walking into because of the trailer, But I feel that this was just kind of mid for a Shyamalan movie. I feel that the idea that he had was really good, but he was afraid of just kind of going a little bit too far or giving it that little bit of that Shyamalan spice. I don't know exactly what his choices were behind the watered down stuff that we get in this movie, but I do like some things in this movie, and the core idea is really nice. It's a fun idea, but I wish we got more of it. The majority of the cast does a fine job with their roles. Josh Hartnett steals the show and every scene he's in. It's a shame we didn't have the opportunity to develop this character further and see how his actions played out further. We needed more information about Hartnett's character Cooper and how he operates. We just get a light morsel of what his mind is like and what his actions are like and what he has done. I wish we went further. Again, as I said before, I'm going to sound repetitive in this episode, but we needed more. We needed more in the production, we needed more in the story, and we need more here on the ensemble. I feel that Josh Hartnett's performance is wasted with the lack of development that his character goes through in this movie. And it's a darn shame because he was doing some really good work, but some decisions were made in the story to kind of rein him back a little bit and focus on some other characters, which I think brought down the movie and the quality of the performances as well, unfortunately. And for the really good performance we get by Josh Hartnett, this movie gets a 1 for ensemble. Again, I wish we got some more of Hartnett. He does do a good job with his role. It is not much, to be honest. I wish we got more of it, but I do like what he does with it. I do like what his family, the people, the actors and actresses playing his family, I like them in the movie. I think they do a really nice job in the third act, and it really helps along with the story and enhance what's going on. The movie lacked in the horror department. There were no on-screen kills, and there was very little violence. The lack of more horror elements would not be a detriment if the audience got a chunkier story to sink their teeth into. This goes back to Shyamalan playing it too safe and never really going that extra mile in the story. What I mean by all this is it is okay to not give me the brutality and the explicit violence that I crave in my horror movies if you make it up in the story and with your characters. And unfortunately, that doesn't happen here. And because we get very little visual blood and gore and horror elements, it really kind of stands out. And again, I keep saying this again, I apologize for sounding like a broken record, but it doesn't go far enough. It is very just meh and generic and very mid, as they say. And I wish he would have gone further, especially with this character and his modus operandi and how he just gets through his day. It is a wasted opportunity. And for the little we get in terms of the horror elements, this movie gets a 1. I feel that if we've gotten more of the killer's backstory and more of flashbacks of his past and what he's doing, maybe it would have helped out. But I think, as I mentioned before, everything should have been cranked up a little bit. Trap was a good movie, but it didn't live up to its premise. The film plays it too safe in all of the facets so as to not disappoint, but the story needed to amplify the protagonist's threat and display his true monster on the screen. Hartnett and his character deserved a lot more. This is just a culmination of what I've been saying throughout the entire episode, is that this movie doesn't do enough to get its point across. It does enough to satisfy the viewer from point A to point B to point C, but it doesn't do enough to really get deep in your memory and in your brain and actually kind of sit there. You kind of see it, you're like, oh, okay, and then you just move on. Unlike his previous movies like The Sixth Sense, where that just lingers throughout for years. The ending of that and that whole entire story, even The Village. People still talk about The Village and what happened with that movie, whether it's a positive or a negative. Same thing with Signs, one of my favorite ones. There are things that Shyamalan did back in the day to his movies that were just not here. This one really felt like a shell of his old stuff, and he didn't really go for anything. There were no risks taken here, but at the end, as I mentioned, it is a watchable movie, but not the best Shyamalan movie there is. And for the potential that we get in this movie, Trap gets a 1 for legacy. Again, I wish we got more of everything. I feel like we got gypped a little bit and they focused too much on this concert and not enough on other things. If they would take the time to kind of just focus on Cooper and his psyche and what he's doing throughout the course of the movie, things might have been a little bit differently, but it is a missed opportunity, a big one. Trap was a watchable movie. It's not the best M. Night Shyamalan movie, but it's not the worst either. Old was way much worse, and Knock at the Cabin, I feel, doesn't have the rewatchability that this one might. I am disappointed with the story and how it all turned out because I wanted more of Hartnett and his character, but at the end of the day, it could have been a whole lot worse. But folks, go watch some of M. Night's earlier work, like The Sixth Sense, like Signs, Unbreakable, 3 of my favorite ones, and his first 3 movies. I really enjoyed what he did with Split and with Glass. I liked what he did with The Script for Devil. That was a very successful horror movie. And I think he showcased that he can write stuff and he can prove that he does know what horror is. Unfortunately, here it falls short. So go watch The Sixth Sense and go get spooked out with that one, folks.
Can you tell me what time it is?
And that's a wrap, folks. Thank you for watching Scary World. Don't forget to drop a comment down below and hit the thumbs up on the video. But most importantly, please do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel where you can find all of the awesome spoiler-free horror movie reviews here on Scary World and the official CorpseFeed podcast, The Morgue Video Show, also dropping on the YouTube channel. Go like, subscribe, and share. Go like, subscribe, and share as well on our socials. We are everywhere, folks. Go drop a comment, leave us a ratings for the podcast streams. You can catch the podcast dropping every Tuesday on any stream you have. Go like, subscribe, and share. Like, subscribe, and share. And we will see you next time for another episode. And remember, folks, it is a scary world out there, but we are here to walk you through it.